Welcome to episode 4 of Closed Door Behind You. I'm Dr. Jud, and this is my co-host, Chris Tos.
Yep.
Today we got a very special comedian. Why don't you introduce yourself, my friend?
Oh, well, special. Do we mean special? Like, what kind of special are we talking about? But my name's Dave Piontkowski. I'm a stand-up comedian based out of New York City. And I'm currently running a one-man show, 3 kidneys, no colon.
So tell us about that. Like, how many kidneys do you have?
I have 3 kidneys. Yeah, I had a kidney transplant 2 years ago to the day we're recording this. It was July 2022. We're recording this July 2024 right now. So I had 2 kidneys that were failing, and then they added on a kidney, kind of like the way you add memory to a computer, you add another organ to a body. And I now have 3 kidneys, one that's kicking ass and basically powering my whole body right now because the other 2 are pretty dog shit.
Do the other ones work at all?
Yeah, there's still a little functionality left because a lot of people will ask me if I got the other kidneys removed, but they only do that in certain cases where you have like cancer, something that can spread. Yeah. You're a doctor, so you might. Yeah. I'm surprised. Like a lot of people don't know this, but yeah, they just added a front kidney on, and that's the 3rd kidney. Right. So the 3rd kidney is functioning and kind of taking over the function for the other 2, but there's still I think somewhere around 10-15% function in those kidneys, but very little.
Well, why did you have to get a new kidney?
I had chronic kidney disease when I was 15 years old, and then it just progressively got worse. And then once I hit my mid-30s, my kidney function went below 20%, and that's when you get eligible to be on a transplant list. And then I spent 2.5 years on the transplant list, a few months on dialysis, and then I finally, somebody died and I got their kidney, and very happy that somebody died, that I got their kidney. Very happy.
If the person who died that the kidney you got was a homosexual, does that mean you're now a homosexual?
That would explain, right after the surgery, I had this taste for cum. And I don't know why I was so into having semen in my mouth. I couldn't figure it out. You
tasted your own cum?
No, not just my own cum, but I'd go down to the West Village and I'd go to bars, and these other guys would be like, hey, do you want me to come inside you? And, before, pre-2022, I was not into it at all. But something after I got the kidney, it's just all I want to do is gay stuff.
Interesting.
No, I mean, but I don't think the donor was homosexual though. That's obviously
that's a shame.
That's yeah, I know. But that would be interesting if I could get their sexual preferences with an organ donation. But I didn't know anything about that. I didn't have that if they were.
Well, there was a thing. I'm really into those I love the X-Files. I love the Unexplained, all of those strange phenomenon. And there was this thing where this girl got a heart transplant, and then she magically knew piano because the person that had it before knew piano. Have you heard of stuff like that?
Yeah, I used to I've read stories about somebody got a heart from someone who loved fried chicken, and then all of a sudden they were really into fried chicken. Their taste changed based on this new body part they got. But I didn't have anything like that, and I also didn't have any communication with this person because they died, so I couldn't know any of their preferences.
So you don't know anything about this person that died?
Oh my God, I wish I did. Yeah. I actually wanted to reach out to the family. I wanted to write a letter, and I reached out to Columbia, the hospital where I got the transplant, and they refused to give me any information. They actually said it's very strange that I wanted to do this. But the person who died,
trying to make you feel bad about it.
No,
yeah,
they
what are you, sick?
No, they really did. And the person who died, all they told me was their age, and they were 26. So I thought, however they died, that's so tragic.
Yeah.
And if you're their parent, it's probably a horrible thing to go through. But wouldn't it be great if a few months later you got a letter from this person who got an organ?
100%.
Yeah, so I thought it was this really nice gesture. And the hospital, the social workers, they were like, you're crazy. We're not giving you this information. And they were so adamantly against me reaching out to the family that I'm just like, all right, I'll drop it. But I really wanted to write a letter.
Well, could they have allowed you to send it anonymously? If you just wrote the letter and said, please give this to the family?
Maybe, but they just wouldn't give me any information or details to be able to do that. They weren't. I needed their help to facilitate it, and they were not interested in helping.
It sounds like more of a situation when they're like, excuse me, I'm on break.
Yeah, I
Like,
just
you're in the medical field. Like, well, I don't know
Trust
why.
me, it wasn't because they like had some moral like epiphany. I think they were just more like, dude, look, we got you a fucking kidney. Like,
Yeah,
like, just,
chill out.
Yeah, chill out. You should be just. You're welcome. Like, enough with fucking putting more work on our table, trying to find the family and stuff. Like, just.
It also sounds like you didn't try hard enough, Dave. I'll be honest with you.
I could have tried harder, but I also was like, I care only to a certain extent. Like, I care, but I don't care enough to like push it with these people, because it's like, you're right, I did get a kidney. Like, who am I to complain about this? It was a nice gesture that I wanted to do, but like, what am I supposed to do past that?
No, I think it would be really cool to. I don't think that's an unreasonable request, and I think that they are not very cool for making you feel that way.
Yeah, it was Columbia,
Columbia, yeah, the one uptown, in
where the
Bronx.
university,
Yeah, where Columbia
was.
University, where they have all
Shocker.
the protests.
Yeah, they got all those protests, huh? You got time for that?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the medical facility. I think is totally independent of that, but
That's fair.
That's actually.
Do you enjoy camping more after the kidney transplant?
Well, I have colitis, so I've never enjoyed camping. So
Those
Dude,
kids from
same.
Colombia, though, they live in the tents.
All right, we're not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it a propaganda.
Between those two.
We're getting political with it.
No politics.
I mean, Colombia was interesting to have it there because, like, one of the first questions I had when I got on the transplant list there was like, will I be able to be active after I get a kidney transplant? And they had such a smug remark to me. They're like, do you know who Alonzo Mourning is? And I go, yeah, the NBA player. Like, yeah, he won an NBA championship after he got a kidney here. I think you'll be fine. And I'm like, all right, guys, like, you don't have to like be.
Are they trying to take credit for his NBA championship?
They kind of are. I mean, in a way, he did get a transplant there, and then he did win an NBA championship. He wasn't a starter, but he did win a championship. I read his book while I was kind of going through it. Not a great book, I have to say. And I think Bill Cosby might have done something with his wife if you read the first.
He went to Georgetown. You would think that he could write.
I mean,
None of
it's a
these guys
book.
actually write their book.
I mean, it's a book.
Or
Look,
go to class for that.
Yeah.
he's a great basketball player. And he had a kidney transplant at the same hospital I had a kidney transplant. And I have all the respect in the world for Alonzo
Much
Mourning.
respect. Yeah, we're just fucking
When I
with you.
play NBA Jam, he's my teammate every time because we're kidney bros.
I bet you they let him write a letter.
Yeah, Alonzo Mourning,
You know,
yeah.
They
Well.
definitely let him write a letter to the person he got the kidney from.
Yeah, Alonzo Mourning, they don't fuck
There's
around.
many
Yeah.
layers to that. So, what about like when you had to go? I think it's probably one of the things that is most interesting to me was dialysis. Yeah. So with dialysis, did they try to get you to do peritoneal dialysis?
Are you talking about the at-home dialysis?
Yeah, the one where they fill your belly
Oh.
through a catheter.
I don't know about the fill your belly thing,
Yeah.
but I know I talked about doing the at home, and I also talked about they put something in your arm. I forget the name of it.
An AV fistula.
A fistula, yes, fistula.
Yeah. You didn't get an AV fistula.
I almost did. I was getting so much peer pressure from my
Did you get a
family.
Quentin calf? In your,
Do you want to see the scars?
Yeah,
Yeah, so if you look, I don't know if you guys can see it.
it's right by
on-
the collarbone.
Show it to the
Camera?
camera.
But like right
Oh
here,
yeah, I see that.
where I'm
Yeah.
pointing.
Yeah.
We'll do like a Wayne's World style zoom and cut it in or something. I don't know. But yeah, there's a big scar right here. It's not too bad. This is 2 years down from dialysis. But I had it in the neck. I didn't even know what dialysis was. I got hospitalized towards the end of 2021, like right around Christmas.
Yeah.
And then there's some medication they give you. I got COVID, and there's some medication they give you, and they wouldn't give me the medication because there's something in the medication that I was allergic to. I had this other medication called rituximab, and when I got that in 2020, that's what led to my kidneys failing. And the idea was that was going to save my kidneys. So that was like, some ingredient in that was also in the COVID cure.
Vaccine?
Yeah, COVID. Well, not the vaccine. I had the
Oh,
vaccine.
That's right. I'm sorry. The actual medication.
The medication, yeah. So the hospital, they wouldn't give me that. And then because my kidney function was so low, they wouldn't let me leave the hospital. And I'd stay at the hospital for pretty much a full month. Yeah.
This is during the pandemic.
This is like late 2021, early
Shit.
2022.
So that'd be
That's
like
scary.
scary. Yeah, really
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, I think I caught COVID going to see Billy Joel at the Garden. Billy Joel was doing a show in December of 2021. And
Billy Joel from Green Day?
No, not Billy Joe, you pop punker. Billy Joel, the piano man from Long Island.
I thought that was Elton John.
Elton John is a totally different human being, but they did do shows together. I'm surprised you've never heard of Billy Joel from Long Island, Piano Man. Only the good die young. You've never heard of this guy.
Well, clearly you're bad because you're still alive.
No, I mean, what generally happened is it was day of the show. Omicron was breaking out, the new like outbreak.
Yeah.
So everyone was selling their tickets and the market went to like really low prices. And I got floor seats for like less than $100.
Hell yeah.
Like 2 hours for the show, and stupidly didn't wear a mask there and probably got COVID there. And then I ended up in the hospital for like 3-4 weeks and ended up on dialysis.
No, at the time though, you weren't sick. I mean, you had chronic kidney disease, so you were like monitoring it, but at the time, you weren't like acutely ill.
No, the rituximab thing put me in the hospital for a week, and that's when I got on the transplant list. But I got enough kidney function back that I didn't have to start dialysis right away, and I was totally isolated for the next year or two because of the pandemic. Then once I got COVID, that's when my kidneys failed, and I got on dialysis in the hospital. And the hospital dialysis is not bad because they just wheel you into a room, and it's like you go from your hospital room to the dialysis room. Then when you have to start going to the dialysis center is when it starts to suck. So they told me about to get back to your at-home question. So the at-home, they'd have to have a nurse come in and like teach you how to do it.
Yeah.
And then I was such a stoner that I'm like, I'm going to fuck this up and I'm going to kill myself. And I did not trust myself to like do it, even with the whatever 4 to 6 weeks of training. So I was like, let me just go to the dialysis center. It wasn't, the first one they put me at was one in like Midtown, which was a pain in the ass. And I had this woman who had like a coughing fit sitting next to me, which was a nightmare. So just things like that,
Were
and
you
then
doing stand-up comedy at the time?
I started getting back into stand-up prior to dialysis, like a few months before, but just dabbling, like doing a few open mics here and there.
Yeah.
And then I went full into it because of February, my cousin was dabbling in it, and he texted me like, do you want to hit an open mic? Not knowing I started dialysis. And I had so much free time, I started writing a ton at dialysis. You got 3 hours, 3 days a week, so much time to write. So I wrote all this new material, and then he ended up bailing on it, and I was like, I'm going to go to an open mic and just try this material out. And I did it, and it went a lot better than the ones previously before dialysis. And then I had so much time, I would record my set, and I'd listen to it over and over and just write in dialysis. So this actually gave me a lot of time to write and develop.
Yeah, so that's ironic that actually like worked in your advantage, because I was thinking about like how, because typically hemodialysis will, be very obstructive into people's lives routines, but it's almost like you turned a negative into a positive. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, the whole goal of it was to get the show that I'm doing now 3 years later out, which is 3 Kidneys, No Colon, which I'm going to Edinburgh Fringe Festival to do. I don't know when this is coming out, but I'll be there August. And so I'm looking forward to it. And it's like, I figured this is such a unique story. Like, who's gotten through dialysis, kidney transplant, and then we haven't even talked about the colitis stuff. That's like a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a doctor, so I think this is like, I love being on a podcast with a doctor. I mean, it's perfect. You kind of can understand like the craziness of the medical stuff.
If you want to talk about medical advice, we do have to charge your insurance.
Well,
This is a real session.
Do you have a PPO with out-of-network benefits?
I'm on a HMO because when
yeah, I don't know if we're gonna
we
be able to
can't take
continue
that.
this,
Yeah.
podcast.
That's How about we avoid medical questions?
We're gonna have to wrap this up.
yeah.
guys.
no, I mean,
No. If you had better insurance, maybe we could.
I'll tell you what happened with my insurance. I was working, and then when the pandemic hit, just everything shut down, and I lost my job. I was side hustle flipping tickets for concerts to pay for my comedy habit, and there were no live events, so that I had no means of income, and they got on like a state plan. And then because of the kidney transplant, they've since kept me on a state plan, even though now I'm back doing that job again on top of the comedy. They still keep me on this like state-run medical plan, I think, for a certain amount of years after the transplant. So I'm just on it because of that. And it's so weird because I'm getting either way. You get fucked with insurance, as you know.
Yeah.
You know.
The doctor, everybody. The only person that makes out is the insurance company.
Right.
Yes.
They keep the premiums and don't pay for your care, don't pay the doctors, and tell you where and how high to jump.
The hardest I've ever gotten fucked has been by insurance, I have to say. Yeah, I've never been fucked so hard in my life. They fucked me left and right. I've had, my other surgery, I was on my mom's plan. She's a public school teacher, and that was like a Cadillac plan. And I had the surgery.
NISHIP? NISHIP?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think it was like one of those. It was years ago, so I'm trying to remember what it was.
In Long Island?
In Long Island. She was a teacher. She's like a
more than
public
likely
school.
NYSHIP.
Is that a good one?
Yeah.
Yeah, but even
Is that
with,
better than mine?
Do I know yours?
I have Blue Cross Blue Shield.
that's a good one.
The one that they give they give the teachers in Long Island is actually they take good care of the teachers.
And even with that, so I had to have the surgery where I got my colon
I don't know
removed.
why.
The surgery for the colitis, they only covered half of that. They went Dutch with me on it, like it was like a
Yeah,
bad
that's
day.
crazy. How much was that? Like $100,000?
That was like $100K. Yeah, so I was like,
So you have to pay 50 grand out of pocket
yeah, close to that. Yeah, it was
just
like
to live.
well to not be shitting 10 times a day. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
But I seen you still shit like 6 times a day.
that even after you have the surgery, you shit on average 3-4 times a day.
Because
Yeah.
he's got no colon. There's no like the transit time that it takes from.
So the second you
stuff in his
eat.
mouth, yeah, it just goes right through him.
Yeah, so and I have to be careful what I eat, what I put in my body. I constantly have flushable baby wipes with me. Shout out to Dude Wipes.
Do you have to drink twice as much alcohol because it goes right through you to get drunk?
No, I get drunk easy now because I stopped drinking with the kidney stuff, and now I don't drink that often. So when I do drink, I get drunk pretty
You're
quick.
hammered.
Yeah, but I don't. It took me 2.5 years to get this kidney, so I'm not that eager to like get really
Fuck it up.
get really
Sure.
fucked up.
You
on
would do
alcohol.
well in Japan.
How so?
So maybe might be a good story. Have I ever told you this?
No.
All right, so
That you know something about Japan?
no. Of course you know that, but so I used to live in Japan. I worked in Japan, right? I was a salary man. So in Japan, the culture is all about drinking after work. So someone will invite you to go drink, and then you got to do it. Like if it's someone who's like a higher level than you got to go.
Yeah, the culture is like if the boss is drinking, you're drinking.
Yeah, exactly. And like, so I was the only white guy like on my floor under 30. There were like 2 other white guys, but they were like way over 40 something, 50, whatever. So they would invite me to drink, and everyone started figuring out that I was really good at drinking. Like I was able to drink everyone under the table. So the bosses, like the managers that would invite me out, would try to keep up with me as like a sort of fucking like macho sort of thing. So we'd have like some women in the group like at work, and they'd just like, you know, Asian glow, like red face on the table, right? But like the higher up would just be like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, outdrink this gaijin, which means like foreigner.
Oh yeah,
And so
trust me, I know.
White devil.
Yeah, the white devil. But they
Baka
couldn't
gaijin.
keep up, dude, because I'm Greek and I come from a long line of alcoholics. And I don't like to drink that much, but I can drink a lot without getting too drunk.
All right.
So I would just drink these people under the table, dude, and they would just get so drunk and they would be like, Christos, I hate my wife. And then just like start telling me like some really deep, dark secrets, right?
wow.
And just word got out that I was like this really good drinker. So random people in different floors of my building would come up to my desk like an hour before work was over and be like, Christos, I heard that you very good at drinker. 一緒に飲みませんか? You know, like together, like why don't we drink like after? And I'd always have to say yes because I was so junior. It was like my first job out of college. And so I'm just over there and I would just get all these secrets told to me. Like I'd be like, oh, don't you have to go home? And he's like, no, I hate my life. Like, you know, I'm not going home yet. So we'd be there till like 2 o'clock in the morning just drinking. Sometimes I'd miss last train on a Tuesday at work because I was drinking with someone who's like a VP.
Oh, those cars can get expensive. I've been to Japan a few times.
Yeah,
and
Tell
those
me the
cars,
story about the time when your boss like made you give him a hand job with a rubber glove on.
That's a story for another day. But so eventually I had to roll to work late, dude. I would just come into work late because I was so hungover, but I kept advancing in my career because everyone was always drinking with me. Literally being an alcoholic helped my career.
Because you're like socializing with the people at the company, so
Yes.
they like you because you're cool with them.
And they would start giving me like really intense, like high visibility projects. So when I came back to America, I was a way higher level than anyone my age. And they were just like, how did you do this? And I was like, literally just drinking. Like, that's the only reason I was there. So the reason I mentioned that is because if you were like, the way you get out of it is being a bad drinker, right? Like, you could literally just go, say yes, go out for drinks, be visibly drunk, and get out. And they would still, like, you'd still get the points for being able to go out and have fun.
The credibility.
Yeah. So, you know, I would kill for a lower tolerance in that situation.
Oh, no, trust me. I wish I had a perfectly healthy body and I could drink like that. When I was in Japan, I drank a lot.
Yeah.
I drank a lot. And then I started, like, my last trip, I'm like, I got to ease up on this because I knew the kidneys were getting bad. And I knew things were getting bad. So I started easing up more and more. But, I mean, my friends would, like, get hammered. They'd be, like, puking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, everyone go wild. And some of the alcohol you get there is just incredible. They have such, like, incredible stuff over there. I mean, the sake and just, like, and I loved it over there. I mean, Japan's amazing. I've never worked over there, though. I have a friend who looks like you, and he's a model over there. So.
Oh, wow. A man after my own heart.
I know, yeah.
I knew that kidney was gay. I told you. Oh, man. That's funny. He's a good drinker, too, actually.
Hey, good for you guys.
Stop putting the microphone on your bristly chin.
Why, do you think you can actually hear it?
Yes, you can hear the scratches of like this. You see?
Does that mean I should shave? Or does that
No,
mean that
just
I should
don't put it so close to your face.
I have stands. I'll give you guys my
Yeah,
stand.
he doesn't like the stand.
Oh, you
We
don't like
have
this?
stand.
Yeah, we got to stand.
You're anti-stand.
He's anti-stand.
I like to
anti-
just hold
He only performs at.
At the stand? Anywhere but the stand.
Anywhere but the
the
stand.
stand. He's anti-stand.
Yeah, I don't like the stand like sticking like itself in the way of the camera, and then you just look like you're behind like a, I don't know, like a piece of machinery.
Yeah, I mean, there's a way to position it like they do on like some of the bigger podcasts, like on Rogan and stuff, where they kind of.
Whoa, we're the same level as Rogan. Don't say the bigger podcast.
Sure,
We're the same level.
sure, I'll live in your reality.
They have it where you can like lower it from above, like a boom.
Yeah, the
almost. That's
ceiling.
better.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
We've got like the desktop version, which just don't really work that well.
Well, we need like some young boys to be like boom mic people, and just they hold the boom mic like we're producing like a sitcom.
Oh yeah, that'd
I
be
think
good.
we should just have some Japanese girls in bikinis holding up our equipment behind us.
Yeah, I pitched that for the sign. I pitched having your girlfriend hold up the sign.
I
and-
concur. I think that would be a great idea. Should I call her right now and tell her to come down here and
Tell her just hold the sign.
get in some lingerie
Just
and just
hold the sign.
up?
Say it's really important that she does
You're
that.
gonna get clicks, but
Yeah.
for a different reason.
Yes, actually, it's not a bad idea.
Let me call her.
This is happening.
That would be
This
so
is
funny.
amazing.
My wife is gonna be so mad,
Yeah.
but actually, this is hilarious.
The visual on the thumbnail will get like, and people will be like, "What?"
Can you get in a bikini and maybe some high heels and come down here to the community room and
wouldn't be able
hold
to
the
see
sign up
this.
during our
Yeah,
podcast?
I don't know why he wants. He's got a high heel
He's just
fetish.
trying to fuck
Yeah,
after
he's-
this.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
just trying to
exactly.
fuck after this.
He likes it when she's taller than him.
Yeah, we're getting into a different thing.
Let's see how she responds.
What? Are you fucking kidding me?
We're trying to get clicks.
We need the clicks.
Be the hottest rated podcast you've done just because you got your girlfriend half naked.
We don't want the Asian fetishizers, though.
Hey, if they're masturbating, they're watching.
That's true. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
I'll take anything. So
Yeah.
I think just get them lined up.
That's a good point. This is actually a great marketing strategy.
I always think marketing. I
Yeah.
always think, what are people going to masturbate to when they're watching this or listening to this? You know, if we could do a little ASMR where maybe we, soothe their ears a little bit. Like, I know we could like eat chips. Some people like that. But something sexual. You know, I'm not. It's not my forte. I'm not as talented as some of the teenage girls who do this on YouTube, but I aspire to be.
But you could dress up as one.
Well, I mean, that's what I do in my free time.
Fake it till you make it is
Yeah.
what they say.
That's my double life, is me dressing up as a
Harajuku teenager.
Harajuku, yeah.
Doing
that's-
mukbang videos.
Why do you think I went to Japan so much?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I would just dress as a cute teenage Japanese girl.
With
and then-
pigtails.
Pigtails, Hello Kitty,
Ooh.
all the bags.
I actually have a Japanese schoolgirl outfit, not for my wife, but for me.
Okay, let's get into that. Why do you have that?
I always wanted to go on stage in like a area that no one knows me and just perform as that.
What? And have you done it?
No, I'm waiting for like the opportune time.
You can open for me on the road, and I'll bring you to some bumfuck city.
Yeah?
We'll bring you like Ithaca or some upstate New York spot that like none of us have ever performed at, and I'll be like, oh, this is my opener, and then you'll just like do your character. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
I want my name to be Miki Kiwasawi.
Whatever you want to be introduced as, that's fine.
Sounds like you put some thought into this. I like this.
Yeah,
I have a blonde wig too, like it looks like an edgy Harajuku girl.
I like it. You know what's going to end up happening? This character is going to hit so hard that you're going to have to do it all the time.
Yeah, that's like my thing now. It's my Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah, you're gonna be getting her done.
Yeah. Get the hot done.
Get that done. Yeah.
Do you like stand-up comedy?
So I wanted to ask you, Dave, about some of the experiences that you had when you were ill, when you were in the hospital, when you were having these really difficult things that you had to go through. Was there ever like any comic relief? Like, did you ever like get in a situation where you're like, holy shit, like I can't believe that happened, or like a doctor or a nurse did something like super inappropriate or something funny or anything that you can remember?
Yeah. I have this very specific memory of basically if anything happens to me, if I get the flu and I'm vomiting a lot, because my kidneys are so sensitive, they're like, go to the hospital. Any little thing, like go to the hospital, get checked out. And I remember I went to like Northwell and like Greenwich Village and checked in there because that was close proximity to where I was living.
Right.
And I go there, and not one, not two, but 3 different doctors shoved their fingers up my ass.
Nice.
And like by the third one, I'm like, have we not figured out what's going on yet? Like, how many doctors need to stick their fingers in my ass?
Do you think they like called each other? Like,
Like,
yo,
they
you
weren't-
gotta check out this
I
asshole.
think they weren't
Do
communicating.
you know that when we learned how to do a rectal examination, at least at my medical school, there was an actual model who volunteered. I think he was paid. And so like he showed up, and the instructor, there was like 7 of us in the room. So the instructor shows up and he's like, okay, so I'm going to, show you how to insert your finger. He lubes up his fingers, gloved finger, obviously, sticks in the guy's butt. And he's like, okay, now Dave, I'm going to have you stick your finger right next to my finger in his rectum. And then I'm going to take my finger out so that his rectum doesn't go into spasm. And then Tara, you'll come next and you'll insert your finger over Dave's. And then Dave, you'll take your finger out. So literally we like ran a train on this guy's asshole.
Wait,
And that's how I learned how to do a rectal examination.
No way. And that's the guy
True
that
story.
donated you the kidney.
I don't know about that.
Volunteer.
But how much did this guy get paid?
Great question. I wasn't the one paying him, but
Not
I'm
enough.
assuming probably $100.
Not enough. Whatever
Yeah.
the amount was, it's not enough.
Or-
Would you just-
Yeah.
Too
you know
much.
That your life is like, if your life is ever horrible, just think of that guy. Be like, listen, at least I'm not getting finger fucked by 5 medical students for $100. Things could be worse.
I mean, you want to talk about medical students. When I had all these kidney problems, I was constantly going into doctors' offices where they had 6 medical students just hanging out in the office, and they would be doing like really thorough exams, and I'd have 6 college students just sitting there, and I started like doing routines for them. I'm like, hey, if anyone else wants to take a peek, come on in, like, messing with them, and they didn't know how to react because they're all like
Right.
nervous medical students.
Well, not only that, like, having a sense of humor and being a medical student or a resident, you are just like, there's constant negative reinforcement associated with that. Like, it's like you just get, yelled at constantly, told like, threatened that, so it's like you almost.
For not taking it seriously.
Yeah. Or just like for inserting any type of humor into the situation.
Wow.
How do you not have a sense of humor when you're inserting multiple fingers into a person's asshole who's getting paid borderline $100?
I mean,
Well,
it was great.
that
was
person
great.
be upset.
He actually looked like Samuel Bankman-Fried.
It's amazing to me that you guys can tell anything from that. Like, how do you put your finger in someone's ass, and what do you feel that's different? If it's-
You could pretty much tell absolutely nothing. We do it pretty much just for dominance.
Oh,
Just to dom sub the patient, like a BDSM thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's two things you do it for, basically. Number one is to check for blood, and the next thing is to check a prostate, because you could feel like the walnut over the rectal edge. But that's pretty much it.
Wait, what do you mean walnut over the rectal edge?
So the prostate's like the shape of a walnut. And so you could feel like like if you're doing a rectal exam, you could check somebody's prostate, feel for like any bumps or anything that would suggest that they might have cancer.
If a woman had like a sharp, pointy bump inside her rectum, which has happened, I don't know, like 10 years ago, I was fingering a girl. No, I don't want to say that.
That would make me call a real doctor.
Yeah.
And send her to a doctor that actually knew what they were doing, because that's
weird,
that would
right?
be of concern.
How do you tell if it's like a turd or just like an issue? Like,
Would it be? Can you feel a turd like that?
A turd?
Yeah.
Like what?
Can you feel? Yeah, of course you can feel a turd.
Yeah, but how do you know the difference?
Because one is literally in the rectal canal, and the other one is literally through the wall, and you're like feeling through a balloon almost.
Oh, so what I probably felt was a piece of poop?
No, you probably felt like she may have had something inserted into her rectum from the last guy that she was fooling around with, and you were just, sloppy seconds on her anal cavity.
Seriously?
I'm just taking a guess. What do I know?
Is that? Are you trolling or is that for real?
I mean, I don't know the situation. Who is this woman?
It's some girl I was hooking up with at the time.
Well, then definitely, she was definitely doing multiple guys.
Yeah, because her standards were so low as to go with me.
If she fucked you, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Dave, what else happened? Like, what are some other kind of like embarrassing situations, or do you ever have any encounters with doctors or nurses where you're just like, this person should not be doing this career? He or she just sucks.
Yes, I had this really old doc. So I had to, before I had the total colectomy surgery, the J pouch surgery, which, just to give the short on that, temporary ostomy bag, and they replace it after a few months, and they basically attach like this J pouch from your intestine to your colon. And I had a second asshole for a few months, but before you get that surgery, because it's such a massive surgery, you have to do 10 different medical exams to like clear you that you're healthy enough to have this surgery, because it's such a massive surgery.
Yeah.
And I had this one doctor who was such an old piece of shit and like should have been retired like 10 years ago. This is like the Joe Biden of doctors, like really like looked like ready to die.
Right.
And he's telling me, well, there's this one thing that I'm not sure I can clear you for. And the only way I could really do it is if we do a spinal tap.
Oh,
yeah.
What?
So you know what I'm talking about, like where they do like that, like a test. It was like something where they had to like put like a needle in my spine.
Well, it's a lumbar puncture. Yeah, you have to like take fluid out of the spinal column.
And he basically said, if we don't do it this way, the other way that we would do it is going to take a few weeks to like get the results, and it would delay the operation. And I didn't want to delay this operation.
So they made you do a lumbar puncture, aka spinal tap, for a colectomy?
Well, they didn't make me. They said, look, there's a chance we can get the results in time for your surgery, but there's also a chance we don't get the results in time. And they got me anxious about like, you might not get the results of this test in time by just like doing it with like blood or whatever they were using. But he's like, oh, if we do it this way, we get out the results in like really quick and you'll be fine. So I was like, fuck it, just do it. And it was super painful and super uncomfortable. And I was like, why did I let this old guy do this to me? This is like terrible.
Yeah, honestly, I wish I could come up with an explanation as to why that would be necessary. I mean, if you were having like fevers of unknown origin, for example, you would want to do that. You would want to rule out everything. What they would be doing is they'd be ruling out meningitis, which is an infection inside of the spinal column. The fluid that bathes your brain and your spine is contiguous from the brain all the way down there. So the easiest way to get it out and test it is you go in the lower back and just... It's actually not supposed to be that difficult at all.
Yeah, so I guess he was testing me for like spinal meningitis. Great song, by the way, Ween song. But the whole experience was like a nightmare, and it just added to the nightmare of like, oh, this is one more thing I have to go through. That's an absolute nightmare. And this doctor just like he wasn't good at it, so like he fucked up when he went to do it, so like it hurt a lot, and then he had to do it again, and I was like, oh my god, and it was just so, it was brutal.
And he was the surgeon that did that?
No,
or
that was
another
just some
doctor?
random doctor I found just to like do this preliminary test, because you had to do all these different exams and had to be checked off, like I don't have meningitis, I don't have this, I don't have that.
Oh, to receive the kidney.
No. That was for the colectomy surgery. The
Oh.
kidney, I had to go through some exams as well. They did a biopsy of my kidneys and a few other things, but nothing as intense as that.
Wow.
That was very intense. Yeah. Oh my God. And then I tell this in the show, like the nurse I had who was explaining me how to use the ostomy, she kept mentioning that she had a boyfriend over and over again, which was very funny. Like I was hitting on her during like the instructions. She's like, oh yeah, you know, she had an ostomy too. So she's like, oh yeah, my boyfriend helps me out. And you know, we live in like the Upper West boyfriend. And like, I go to dinner with my boyfriend. He's cool. And I'm like, you mention your boyfriend like every 3 seconds. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not hitting on you. I just had an ostomy bag installed 48 hours ago or whatever. It's like not, this is my intention isn't like, damn, I'm going to get the digits. So we're going to.
Was she hot though?
She's all right.
She was okay.
Well, I don't want to insult her, you know, on the 1% chance she hears this, but I mean, I remember her being like decent looking, but not like, I wasn't looking at her in a sexual manner.
If she was like a 9 or a 10, would you be hitting on her with that situation going on? Like you're gonna shoot your shot, right?
I don't think my mind was in a sexual mindset when you now are shitting out of a second asshole out of your front that's next to your belly button. I don't think your mindset is like, hey, I want to fuck. You just think like, oh, I want to stop shitting. I want to shit out of my butthole again. Like all you want to do is shit out of your asshole again, and you're just not even thinking about like getting laid. In fact, like during dialysis, I didn't date. During the ostomy bag time, I didn't date because I just thought the logistics of explaining this to somebody is so insane that I think actually, no, I did go on like 1 or 2 dates during dialysis actually, but it didn't go anywhere. But I wasn't like, I would wear like big sweaters, like trying to hide it. Like I didn't want to explain
Did you,
it.
like, when this was all over, I mean, it's a huge success story. I mean, like, the utmost respect over what you went through. Did you gain, like, this sense of self-confidence that, like, went, like, after all this is done, where you're, like, you can really appreciate and, like, you're just, I don't know. I would just imagine that you're probably so much more confident in yourself now that you don't have an ostomy and that you don't have an AV fistula, you don't have to go to hemodialysis.
Oh yeah, we never even talked about. I mean, I'll answer your question, but I never even talked to you why I didn't get that. But yeah, I'm way more confident because all the bullshit I hear other comics bitch about is like nothing to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, you had a bad Tinder date? Fuck you.
Right.
Fuck you. Okay.
Right.
I had a fucking bad decade.
Anybody else in here on therapy?
Oh, yeah.
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 Like all the problems I hear other comics talk about, and
Right.
not all comics, but like a majority of other
Yeah.
comics, I'm like, it's bullshit.
Right.
What you're dealing with seems like a big deal to you.
Right, yeah.
Why don't you try getting a fucking ostomy bag for a few months?
Right.
Why don't you try fucking having to live a life on dialysis?
Yeah.
That's real shit.
Right, yeah.
And there are some comics
Real
that-
shit. Nice.
It's real shit.
Ah, no pun intended.
No, pun intended.
Yeah, that's good.
Now that you saw it. Yeah, pun
Is that in
intended.
your 1 hour show?
Maybe it will be. I don't know. It's a work in progress right now, so it's
Tough
possible.
shit.
Yeah, but really, I appreciate life so much. I think all these other little problems are like bullshit to me. I feel like all the other things that I come through in life, I'm like, well, who cares? At least I'm not on dialysis. Like,
Right.
you know, you go through like a shitty situation, a relationship or whatever personal situation. It seems like nothing in comparison to like shitting out of an ostomy bag or going through dialysis.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
When you
puts
compare
everything in
it,
perspective, man. That's good. I'm glad that you have that, you know, you're able to capitalize on that. And that's got to make you, like, at least I would assume it probably make you even more confident, like, to pursue, you know, your career as a comedian, because you're like, dude, I got one more chance at life, being healthy again. Like, I'm going to, like, take this. And so you're going to Edinburgh, Scotland, you were saying?
Yeah.
To do your show? Tell us about that.
I'm doing the Fringe Festival. It's the whole month of August. I'm performing nightly. If you watch Baby Reindeer,
Yes.
I'm looking for a Martha to come to every show just to fill seats.
Nice.
And then I'll be out of the country, so it'll be a little tougher to find me. But yeah, I'll be there for a whole month of August. Then I'm going to go to London and do some shows, and then I'll be back in the States in September, and then hopefully tour with the show. And actually, I'm now looking at the show as a marketing plan for kidney number 4. So deceased donor kidneys last on average 10 years, and I'm already 2 years deep. So the goal is, progress the show, get it to be a good enough show that I could put it out into the world as the marketing plan for kidney number 4.
Interesting.
That's pretty smart, actually.
So
Yeah.
how old are you now? You're in your 30s?
37.
You said 37?
So you got 8 years left. You'll be 45.
But this is an average too. So they told me, because I work out like 5+ days a week. I eat healthy. I'm I'm in the best shape of my life. And it's because I want to maximize the lifespan of the current kidney.
Right.
But I'm in this headspace of I have to stay healthy, because if I don't stay healthy, this kidney's going to die and I'll be back on dialysis, and it'll be even tougher to get a kidney when I'm older.
Right.
So I just am in this mindset of trying to stretch it for as long as possible. And they've told me 10 years is the average, and that a lot of people beat that number, but I don't know. So I'm just in the mindset of hey, let me hedge my bet. Let me go pursue fame, not for fame why other people do it, because they want money or teenage girls. I want a kidney.
Organs.
I want organs. This is for organs.
That's kind of why I'm doing it too, is for organs.
Aren't we all? It's just
I just want to harvest them.
Yeah, just a way to get organs from people. Yeah, I mean, how else do you get an organ? No, I have to say, marketing it when I was just starting out in comedy and I didn't have a ton of people. I mean, I talk about it in the show. It's very difficult trying to get an organ from people. But I think damn, if I was had Jim Gaffigan or Seinfeld level fame and I could reach out to millions of people, you figure someone's going to come through.
Yeah.
And hey, you got comp tickets for life if you give me a kidney.
How about that story about, I don't want to take away from your show, but I thought it was interesting how you had that one chance to go to that basketball game where there was millions of people watching, and you made a sign because you had seen people asking for organs at other sporting events and they got a little attention, but then you got kind of cold feet.
Yeah. So Judson saw the show. So just to clue you guys in, I tell a story about going to a Knicks game, and I made a sign that said I need a kidney with a phone number, and then the seats ended up being courtside seats, and I kind of chickened out. I want to enjoy the game and not bring all the attention to myself. And I'd never sat that close for a Knicks game, so it was incredible to me to be that close. And then I kind of was I don't want to hold a sign up in front of it these people who spent $1,000 on a ticket. I got a free ticket for the game through my brother, and it was a really crazy moment where I wanted a kidney very badly, but yet didn't want to expose myself in that way. And that's something I've had to kind of get used to, is because when you need a kidney, you do have to expose your health. Your health's a very private thing. When I went through the colitis, I didn't have to tell anyone, hey, I'm getting an ostomy bag. Can you help me out?
Right.
No one has to help me except the doctors and the medical people. It's private. When you need an organ, you have to go very public with it, which is very different than any other medical situation where you could be private and deal with it privately. Now you need to solicit and really try to get friends and family aware of your medical situation and hear about it, and then maybe want to donate.
That's kind of cool, though. Do you regret not putting the sign up?
No, I mean, I regretted it at the time, but it's a good story in the show, and it shows where I was at in my life. And then it led to me meeting an organization called Renewal, which is this Jewish organization that helped me market it. And it came out of that thing because I explained what happened to a nurse at dialysis, and she introduced me to this organization. So it turned out to work out and be a positive, but it's tough. It's there's no right or wrong answer to any of this. There's no oh, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. And in the end, it worked out. But I think I love my plan right now of becoming a comedian just to get a kidney. I think is really the ultimate. No, I don't know anyone else pursuing stand-up for Oregon, so
That's
and you're already doing international tours, so I mean, you're
exactly festivals.
Your exposure is just
And he sold out his show too.
very cool.
Yeah, my show at Soho Playhouse, and then I'm running it again this Thursday, which I doubt this is going to be out in time for that, but it'll happen again in New York. Dave P Comedy on Instagram, and so I'm going to keep running the show. And I'll be back at the Fringe probably in the future, and I'll be touring with it. So the goal is put the show out there and who knows down the line, when I need a kidney, what better way to market the kidney than put a stand-up special out?
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully there'll be like an episode
Looking for
2
a
to this in
fourth.
10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I want to have kids now because of it. Like, I never want to have kids before, but now I'm like, I could really use an extra organ.
Oh man, that's messed up.
I mean, it's messed up, but
It's true. They
it's
owe
true.
you that. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I did a show in a storage unit yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done much crappier venues. Yeah,
But it's okay.
Where was the show in the storage unit?
It was at Manhattan Storage. Yeah.
Do you know there's actually a Manhattan mini storage downstairs in this building?
Oh,
So
really?
If we ever want to do a show there, maybe we can,
That'd be cool.
There are-
It's like an advertisement for them.
yeah.
Like to show the size of the thing.
how was that
Sincerely?
show?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, they like hired some of the guys from Stand Up New York, and then they invited me to perform in the storage unit to like 6 people.
So weird.
Yeah, and it
The
was
weird gigs you do.
Yeah, and they, it's taped, so they'll probably use it for like some commercial thing. It's funny.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I had to do all clean material.
Oh, really?
So I was like, can it be anti-Jewish though? And they're like, that's clean. So I did-
Anti-Semitism's okay.
Anti-Semitism's clean.
Yeah, that's what you want to do when
It's
you're
so
on a
in
podcast.
fashion right now.
I know.
So in fashion. To
Yeah,
be-
it's very cool.
To hate Jews.
I always love
Yeah.
giving him one of those, and then he starts to like get all worked up
Why
about
would
it.
you too? I'm not
Yeah.
too happy about all the anti-Semitism.
No, I know. First of all, look, I don't know. The weather's been great lately, so I don't know.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm Greek, dude. We go back, the Jews and the Greeks.
Oh, I don't have a problem with you or anyone in particular.
Oh, I do. I have a problem with both of you.
Oh, yeah?
And your collective society.
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
for the Edinburgh Fringe, actually, I'm in a group on WhatsApp of all Jews performing at the Edinburgh Fringe.
Oh, really?
Because there are some Jews who are like nervous about being overseas right now because all the anti-Semitism.
Really?
I don't have a very Jewish show. Like, you wouldn't know I'm Jewish from the 3 kidneys, no colon.
Uh-huh.
You just know because of my stupid Jew face. But you wouldn't really know if you just like saw the show.
I think it's people are so dumb that people ask me if I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
I'm like, my name is Christos. Mm-hmm. It's literally like a flag that says I'm not Jewish.
Yeah, I mean, you have Christ in your name.
Yeah.
But I've done that before. I've had people where like they're clearly not Jewish, and I'm like, oh wait, you're Jewish, and like, no, what the fuck? And they point out why they're not, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
So I've made mistakes like that.
Yeah, nah.
Judson brought it up before, which is they have the dialysis with like the neck catheter, and then they have an easier one where they put a fistula in your arm.
Atrial venous fistula, AV fistula.
AV fistula.
Yeah.
And my nephrologist really wanted me to get a fistula fisted.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very against it. I was like, because I kept thinking I would get a kidney. I had this like crazy optimism that I would get a kidney sooner than later.
If you were on the list for long enough, you would have to abstain from utilizing this too much because it would get infected.
That's what happened. It started getting infected.
Oh.
So when it started getting infected, that's a nightmare situation.
Because you got to take it out,
Yeah.
and then put a new one in,
And that
then
had-
imagine having to do that 10 times, and how much scar tissue and stuff. And this is a major vessel here,
It happened, I think, at least twice, maybe 3 times.
right? So that's why you get the AV fistula.
Yeah, and it was crazy. Like I had a new one put in, and it didn't work, and then they had to take that out and put another one in.
Right.
And then I was getting a lot of heat from my parents, my nephrologist. Like this is like I think May or June.
Right.
They really wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And I was very, very against it. And I said, look, if it gets to, I put a mark in the calendar. Like if it gets past this date, I'll get it, which I think was like August or September. And then I got the kidney in July, but I was pretty close to getting it. It takes about 6 weeks to like settle. So my thing was like, well, I think I'll get a kidney in the next week or two. Like I kept having this crazy optimism that
You manifested it though.
I don't know if I manifested it. It's just my cousin was really trying to work hard to get his numbers down. Like he was just getting dismissed because he had high blood pressure, but he was so close. He was like this close to being able to be eligible. So I kept thinking he's either going to come through, or I've been on the list for 2.5 years. I'm in my 30s. Everyone around me tells me this is crazy. You haven't gotten a kidney yet. So I'm thinking, okay, yeah. So why would I do this extra stuff? I'm going to get a kidney. But then as the days and weeks went on, you get more and more pessimistic. Like, when is this going to happen? And a lot of peer pressure. And then especially like when it got infected in June, a lot of pressure from my family and my physician. And I held out, but I said to them, okay, look, if I get through the summer and I still don't have a kidney, I'll do it. So I had planned on getting it, but I ended up not doing it. I ended up getting the kidney. They still kept me on dialysis they kept the catheter in for about 4 weeks after I got the kidney because they want to make sure it worked.
Sure.
So I didn't have to continue dialysis, but they were nervous I might have to continue dialysis. So they kept the catheter in, and then finally got it removed. Was like an amazing time. Like that. After you've been on dialysis and you get that catheter removed, dude, it's incredible. You feel like you're like free.
You had some experience with this at my favorite comedy club, The Stand.
Oh yeah, I've done friend shows over there, and I like that club. It's really nice. Yeah,
They have the best food and the best drinks. I love that place. Like,
I agree. Yeah,
even if you're not going to watch comedy, you can literally just go there and have dinner. It's fucking be amazing.
I live around the corner, so I'll come by if my friend's running a show or my friend's doing spots. I'll come by and just hang out because I like the atmosphere.
Totally.
And I have a very sensitive stomach, so like it's one of the few clubs where I could eat their food and not feel like terrible.
Right. Yeah, I love that brick oven pizza they have. It's amazing. Is it a brick oven? It's a brick oven.
It
right?
is, yeah. And
some kind of oven. But they make pizzas. My point.
But I've seen
pizza's
families come in and get the pizza like treated like a restaurant, and like people don't even know it's a comedy club.
Right.
Really?
I've talked to people at the bar, and they're like, "What's going on back there?" I go, "Comedy shows," and they're like, "Oh, how about that?"
You know that used to be like a finance bro bar back in around the time of the 2000.
Yes.
And like it was just all finance bros because I used to live in that area as well.
Yeah.
And I think it was called Brother Jimmy's or something
Brother
like that.
Jimmy's. I used to play cornhole over there.
And and then they just turned that place into like an incredible Italian restaurant with 2 stages. It was super cool.
I've been in Gramercy since 2015, so I used to go to Brother Jimmy's, and they had cornhole in the back, and nobody knew about it. So me and my friends would be like, "Do you got the cornhole set?" And we would go to Brother Jimmy's just to play cornhole. We weren't that into the food, but we'd hang out and drink and play cornhole there because that's tough to find in Manhattan.
Sure.
And that was like a spot we could play cornhole.
At the Stand?
Where the Stand used to be, it used to be a bar known as Brother Jimmy's, and it's not like a great bar, but they had a cornhole set there, and me and my friends loved playing cornhole. So
Cornhole is a white activity.
Oh, definitely, yeah. We're white. We're white guys.
Oh, by the way, I got a response from Chisato in regard to coming to wear a bikini and high heels and wear our and to carry the sign. She said something to the effect of, why? 2 question marks.
What?
I have to go shopping. And please ask Irie.
I
his
will
wife.
never do that.
Oh,
You
yeah?
met Heidi.
Yeah,
she
not
would
gonna do that.
never do that.
Not only that, but she'd be pissed
Yes, to even ask
if
that.
Chisato came down here and did that for
Oh,
us.
she would be absolutely
Furious.
Yeah,
It
no.
would be like the end of their friendship.
Yeah.
We
Well,
gotta-
Why did you do that for them?
We got to outsource this.
Yeah, we do. We actually could.
I think that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah. If we just pay, and then
a
everyone's
couple.
like these chauvinist pigs.
100%.
But you'll get hits.
Yeah.
You
I think
will
we
get
definitely
clicks.
should have a couple of beautiful women holding that door, holding the closed door behind you.
But they
Sign.
just have to do it for like an hour.
But they're gonna get you pay them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are women out there that work hourly. I heard.
Oh,
Yeah.
You go to Jackson Heights.
They're all over the city.
They might not be born women, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you're paying them not for sex to hold a sign.
Right.
So it's probably an easier job than having sex, depending on the client.
That's fair. But I feel like some of them are like, no. What
Well,
I
then-
do is sex.
Judson was talking about someone who got paid to get their asshole fingered by 10 medical students. So I think you could find someone who you could pay to hold a sign.
You know, there's also a woman who was the model for the pelvic examination. So she had like a line of like 7 medical students doing a pelvic exam on her.
What's a pelvic exam?
That's basically a vagina exam, like an internal exam on a woman. So you have to learn how to use the speculum, which is like that thing that looks like a duck bill.
Oh,
to
the metal
open up.
thing?
Yeah, the metal thing.
Wow.
So you have to be able to like learn how to like insert that like vertically, gently, find the cervix, open it up, be able to look at the cervix, be able to take like samples from the cervix, take it out, and then do what's called a bimanual examination.
Oh.
So
All
yeah,
right.
there was a lady that gets paid to do that.
Similar amounts, like around $100.
Yeah, and this lady was she was aggressive with it. Like I remember I was trying to learn how to do it, and she basically took the thing out of my hand and was like, I'm a little retroverted. You're gonna need to just kind of bring it like this.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
She used the term retroverted?
Yeah. She's like, my uterus is a little retroverted. Which
So
means
she's done it before.
Veteran to the game.
Yeah.
She was clearly, a veteran.
Wow.
She's done this
That's
before.
kind of cool.
Which is cool, though. It
Yeah.
made you, because it's terrifying, as a young guy doing a pelvic examination. And, because the last thing you want to keep it super professional, super above board. And so, for example, whenever I'm doing a pelvic examination, the whole time I'm talking. Like, there's never going to be a moment of silence where they don't know what I'm thinking. I'm like, right now, okay, I'm just going to, you're going to feel one finger down here. You're going to feel my other hand, just adjusting it. I'm feeling your left over. I'm feeling right over. Right here in the middle is the uterus. The whole time I'm talking, so there's no, this guy's thinking X, Y, or Z. You know what I mean?
That's a good practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I bet
don't shut up.
I bet the person who was recording it when they're watching the video is like, yeah, I can't jack off to this. This guy won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to masturbate. I gotta mute it. It's
It's like those Indian guys that are narrating the hentai. They're like, and she takes out Ronda and cinema, but then
I don't know about that, but the fact that you know about that tells me a
You've
lot
never
about
seen
you.
it? There's these guys, these Indian guys that they just have there's a little window on top of really good all the best hentai has these guys just with their little video overlay, and they're just narrating the thing, and sometimes they're just reading the subtitles, so they're just oh, I love you so much, your pussy is so good, and and you're just what the fuck, dude?
As far as hentai goes, I've only seen still photos that I've just sent to pop people on group chats, but I've never actually watched a full hentai video and been I gotta jerk off.
No.
What is hentai? Is that
So
cartoon?
Hentai is
Yeah.
Japanese anime porn
Okay.
or corn, so we could use this footage.
But why, now that porn is so readily available, why would you?
Well, some people just prefer it.
He's wearing a Sonic the Hedgehog shirt. Let's
Yeah.
say you're really into Sonic and you want to see Sonic fuck Tails and Knuckles.
Well, this is an important thing.
Very
That is
important.
usually made by Americans or other people, but there's actually a professional, that's some guy who's a really sick guy who loves Sonic the Hedgehog, and he animates a whole thing of that. But there's full on production companies in Japan that make hentai.
Wow, I didn't know it went to that level.
Yeah,
where-
it's like a TV show. You watch Attack on Titan, there's a hentai that's made that, and none of them, they don't have the licensing. So all the familiar characters that you have and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
those are unlicensed. Those are made by some random guy. But
My
there's
dad.
Yeah, maybe your dad for
yeah,
sure.
it's definitely my dad.
Yeah, but there's a guy, there's a company, many different companies that are just making full on, storylines with a whole world built around hentai.
This
and
podcast-
it's 2 or 3 episodes.
This podcast took a weird turn, I have
No,
to say.
this is where we get the hits, dude.
You think the hentai porn?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, we could show the videos. If you could edit the video that you're talking about on top of this.
That would get hits.
That would get hits,
But
yeah.
we're not gonna do that
Well, I mean.
because my in-laws follow me on Instagram.
Oh, you don't want your in-laws seeing hentai porn?
Yeah, because they'll know what that is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about? So when I was a kid, my mom's bedroom was connected to our bedroom, so she would have to walk through our bedroom that I shared with my brother. We had bunk beds. She'd have to walk through our bedroom to get out of her room. So it was my house was built in the 1700s. It's an annex. Our bedroom was some sort of annex. It could have
Where
been
is
the
this?
original kitchen. It's in Westchester.
Okay.
And so she'd have to walk through our bedroom, and I couldn't watch porn ever in my house. There was no way to do it.
What about the bathroom?
The bathrooms is it's thin walls. There's no way you could hear it. And you couldn't we didn't have cell phones with porn at that time.
Right.
Right. So you had a computer or whatever. So the only way I could get away with like watching porn in my house was to watch hentai. Because like from a distance or whatever, you would think it was just like a Japanese cartoon because my mom knew. Yeah, my mom knew that I was into anime and stuff because I was drawing all the time and I was into anime.
Right.
So like you could like get away with minimizing a window pretty quickly, like with the idea of it being hentai. And I am an auditory stimulated person. So like hearing the sounds is better for me than watching porn on silent.
ASMR?
Yeah, not necessarily ASMR, but just like hearing like the joy and happiness of a sexual interaction was what I liked.
What was the closest you came to getting caught?
Oh, here's where we'll go. So,
Yeah.
So I would play it, and like my mom would just think I was watching like regular Japanese anime because people would be like, oh, kimochito, and like just whatever. And then at my wedding, my mom is drunk, and we have the wedding in Japan, and she's making a speech, and she's like, I always knew my son was gonna go to Japan because he always liked anime, and I knew my son was gonna get married to a Japanese woman because he was always watching Japanese porn. And I was like, fuck.
So she knew.
She knew, dude. She knew.
Yeah.
And here we are. And that story is just for clicks.
How did your in-laws handle that?
They didn't understand because the person who was translating for our wedding did not translate that part.
Okay, so did she mention like that it was cartoon porn, not the pixelated Japanese porn?
She just said Japanese porn.
Okay.
She did not specify or anything like that.
Yeah, because I find the pixelating ruins Japanese porn for me.
Well, all Japanese porn has to be pixelated.
Yeah, why is that?
That's just a law that they have in Japan.
It ruins.
You can't show
it.
penetration.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a joke about that. I'll do it. Yeah, the joke I do about that is like, I went to buy like one of those penis-shaped bottle openers in Japan, and then I got a vagina-shaped bottle opener, and when I combined them, it became pixelated.
That's funny.
Yeah,
That's really good.
Yeah, it's a good joke.
I guess my homework is to go watch hentai.
Yes, I'm sure Chisato's watched hentai because she likes anime. I don't actually like hentai. It was out of necessity at the time.
Sure, you don't like it, but you watched it
Nah.
aggressively.
But the funny thing is with hentai though is some of the Japanese production houses are really clever with it. So they'll draw and design like the animation of like a woman's mouth to kind of look like a vulva, like a real vagina, like a vulva sort of experience. And that's like a loophole that they get around.
Yeah.
So like a woman will like open her mouth and like have her tongue come out and it like really looks like a vagina instead of like a tongue.
I've seen it. What is it? It starts with an M, like Magna or is
Magna?
It, I'm thinking manga.
Manga?
Yeah.
No, manga is
manga.
just the comic books.
Is that like a type where they make it like?
No, manga is just all kind of Japanese comic books.
Okay, I'm thinking of something else. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I'm
yeah,
not
they'll like do it. I'll send you pictures.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I would figure if that's the issue I had, if I had your issue, I would just go get like magazines or something, get like porno mags or like still. I wouldn't like, I have to jerk off to cartoons. I would just get like whatever, like Penthouse or so, whatever, and jerk off that.
Yeah,
when
but
we were
remember,
kids,
I'm
we
an
didn't have
auditory.
these problems. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have computers.
Yeah.
We only had magazines. We had like when somebody had like an older brother, we would steal his porno mags.
Right,
And
but
that
I was the
like
older
gold.
brother. I was the older brother.
No, I get it. It's just that you were like, that was like 2010. I'm talking about like
this was
1978.
2005, 2004.
Wow.
So those still existed.
Yeah.
When I was,
You didn't have cell phones with porn on them.
So you reminded me, it's like 2004, I lived with another comedian in the city. I started comedy when I was a teenager, and I was like 18. And in the apartment, I went to like one of these stores that has every porno magazine.
Yeah.
And I got the oldest, grossest porno magazine, like 60 plus or whatever. And I put it in the bathroom. And then all the other comics who came over thought I was into it.
Oh, man.
But I just did it as a joke. But it was so funny. They'd be like, they talked to like my roommate privately, like, is he into that? Does he like? And I would sell it to bluff to the river. I'd be like, oh yeah, of course, older the better. Yeah, give me
Right.
Yeah.
Stick with the bit. Yeah.
Yeah, stick with the bit, of course.
All right, let's do a lightning round.
Yeah.
Okay. Question. All right, Judson, think of a good question, but I have one for you. Lightning round question. Would you rather watch a movie with a bear or a woman?
A woman.
Interesting.
Why would I want to watch a movie with a bear? I just watched Cocaine Bear, where the bear goes crazy. And
Yeah, but the bear won't interrupt the movie asking questions.
this bear is going to be quiet and calm and not on cocaine.
Yeah.
I would still say the woman, just because I'm not as threatened by a woman as I am a bear.
Okay, got it. That's fair. All right. Red Bull or Monster?
I don't really drink any of those drinks, but I guess if I did, it would just be whatever option sugar-free.
Okay.
I'm trying to be very healthy, so I guess whatever has a sugar-free option.
What's your favorite childhood memory that you think is now disturbing?
Oh, good question. Favorite childhood memory that I think is now disturbing. Damn, that's a great question. I'm thinking of I had a lot of interactions at theme parks with costume characters where it seems very innocent and stuff. But then if you think about this guy in the costume was my age right now, and he was holding my hand running around a theme park or something, it's kind of weird.
How about if you had two people who are currently dead and you can have dinner with them tomorrow night, who would they be?
Currently dead. Frank Zappa, definitely, and Rodney Dangerfield.
Why Zappa?
I love Frank Zappa's music, but his interviews are so interesting because he would look at really successful bands like the Beatles and be like, they're okay. And I just thought his opinions were so unique.
Yeah.
If you watch his interviews, he's very political too, but he's not left or right. He's very this is how I feel about stuff, which I think did end up leaning more left. But he had such a unique perspective on music, on art, on culture, on everything, that I would love to get his perspective on things, especially present day.
So if you had a future ex-wife, what would she look and sound like?
Like Courtney Love, but on heroin. And just really, really out of it, nodding off. So probably.
But then she'd kill you, because that's what really happened.
Oh, you think she killed Kurt Cobain?
She definitely killed Kurt Cobain, dude.
There are rumors.
Did you see that documentary about the guy that he was
The
an
investigator?
the investigator.
Yeah.
Scary.
Dude, it's legit.
What's the documentary? I don't think
I don't know what it's called,
Was
but
it
it
the-
basically focuses around a guy who is a private investigator and investigates the whole thing and comes to the conclusion that she killed him. It's worth, yeah.
If you look at the autopsy reports and all this kind of stuff, he had so much heroin in his body that there's no way he could have pulled the trigger in the way that he did in the blast that happened. And it's so easy to set that up because you could just be oh, he's a degenerate, guy who's a heroin addict. Of course he killed himself.
But I remember he used to drive a shitty car because it was the safest car you could drive.
Mm-hmm.
I forget if it was a Volvo or whatever, but it was rated the safest car. So there were things like that where you're oh, why was Kurt Cobain behaving like that? But then he just shoot himself.
He also had a newborn baby, which he super loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out.
I could understand overdosing on the heroin, right? As a mistake.
Right.
But to do enough heroin to kill yourself, which is what he had in his system,
He shot himself.
and shot himself,
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
and
that doesn't make any sense.
the angle to which he had to hold it and all that kind of stuff.
Correct.
Even the note that he left behind was suspect.
I actually, I won't get into the gun stuff, but it's very difficult to shoot yourself in the face with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I say to everyone who's listening to this, if you're going to kill yourself, opt in to become an organ donor and try to keep everything below the neck intact because there's someone like me out there that needs a kidney.
I
Yeah.
think that's a fantastic way to end the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Any
And
other
the good
comments?
sound bits too.
Thanks so
Yeah.
much, Dave, for
Thanks for
Thank you,
having
Dave.
me. Yeah.
being
Thanks
cool
for having
and
me.
being vulnerable and talking about your story, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, at Dave P Comedy on Instagram. If you want to see more, see my show, 3 Kidneys, No Colon, when it comes to a town near you. DM me if you want me to come to your town, and I will come there. I will come. I will actually like ejaculate and come in your town.
Disturbing.
Yeah.
We're actually gonna cut this right before your
I
promo.
figure that. I figure.
Yeah, so your promo is
Yeah,
going
cut the
nowhere.
well, I mean, you got the promo, and then you could cut the cum part out.
No.
You can cut.
We're cutting the promo.
You're cutting the
completely.
promo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
I mean,
Of
do
course
whatever
we're
you
gonna
want.
Keep,
I don't.
We're
doesn't-
just gonna. I'm just trolling you.
I
we're
know
gonna
you're
keep
a troll.
your promo.
Yeah. I don't. I really. It makes no difference to me.
All right. Dave P. Comedy. Close the door behind you. I'm here, Chris Tos with Doc Jud.
Peace out.
Yeah. Thanks
Peace.
for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
God bless. You heard?
God bless. Shalom.